On first glance, I agreed with the judges. I thought that Royval probably did enough to win the fight. When I watched it again, I kind of discovered a few other things that you could make a case for Brandon Moreno. Styles make fights, and I think that these two, maybe just made for a more patient version of Brandon Moreno than we're used to seeing. In the beginning of the fight, round one, Royval, he's a southpaw. He really does kind of utilize a long guard, so he's got his hand kind of down, but then he's kind of moving it around so you can't really see where he's throwing, and he uses that lead hand to kind of control Brandon Moreno. I thought Royval did a great job of pressuring. The only thing is that Moreno actually did a great job while being pressured. And I think a lot of it comes to his footwork. So Royval, like I said, started off early in long guard and kind of throwing jabs, not throwing anything really that, major, I didn't think. He was throwing a lot of feints. Moreno was moving extremely well on the feet. His footwork is just insanely good. I thought that was probably one of the better performances I've seen from him defensively. And his head movement is beautiful. He has very, very small movements that he makes with his head. And I think that makes him very difficult to hit. He kind of has this like signature style that I've seen in boxing, but I haven't really seen it a ton in MMA, where he kind of like moves his hands like this while he's throwing. Yeah, I mean, the first couple minutes of the fight was very slow. There wasn't really much happening other than Royval was throwing a lot of feints. Moreno wasn't really biting on any of them, and it didn't look like although he was being pressured and he was like Royval was controlling the octagon, it didn't feel like Brandon was really even on the back foot. And I think it's just because his footwork was on point. After a couple minutes, Moreno kind of started having some success with the overhand left. And I think that punch did a lot for him in that fight. And he didn't land a ton of them, but the ones he landed were very significant. And I think that's the biggest difference in this performance. Royval landed more volume. Brandon Moreno landed with more significance. And also, a lot of the shots that Royval threw, Moreno blocked them. He was slipping, he was ducking. If you scored it based on damage, I actually would probably have given it to Moreno, honestly. And one thing that happened, probably like the last half of the first round, Royval threw a kick to the body. I don't know if he feinted the kick or if he just didn't fully commit to it, but he kind of threw that kick one time before, like immediately before, and then he threw it again and fully committed to it. And he threw it with his lead leg. And he kind of left this side of his chin exposed. So Moreno threw a heavy right hook right to the chin, and then he landed another left hook, or another hook with his left hand. So he threw the right hook with the lead hand, and then the left hook with the rear hand. The way he timed that was just perfect. And I think it could have something to do with the fact that Royval kind of teased that kick that he was going to throw a little bit. And like I said, I don't know if he just didn't fully commit to it or if he was trying to feint the kick or what. But I think Moreno saw it coming. I hate sparring with someone who uses a long guard because I'm short as it is. I don't have the longest arms in the world. I don't have the best reach. So when I'm trying to hit somebody and they've got their hand out like this, it's pretty hard. But one thing that I've learned, and thank God my coach kind of gave me some pointers on this, is move your head with your punches. And that's something I noticed that Moreno did. So if you look at a lot of those big power shots that he threw, he's moving. So he's kind of like moving off to the side a little bit when he throws, especially on the two, and especially on that those hooks that he threw. When Royval threw the kick, Royval kind of jabbed his way out of there. I can't remember what it was. He threw a little combination. It landed, but it didn't really land clean. I easily gave that round to Moreno. Chris Lee scored round 1 for Brandon Royval. I don't understand that whatsoever. That round was clear as day for Brandon Moreno. You cannot convince me that Brandon Royval won the first round in any way, shape, or form. No. It's absolutely not. So, yeah, no. that doesn't make any sense. What was the strike count on that? So 15 total strikes for Moreno. Yeah, not a very active round, but I thought it was very clear who won and who landed the more significant strikes, who did the most damage. Clearly Moreno did. Then we go to round 2. So round 2 is definitely more of an eventful round. Still not anything crazy happening really, There wasn't ever a moment where I thought anybody was going to finish the fight, but it was a better round. So Royval threw a kick to the body right away, and Moreno pretty much blocked it, and he did block, honestly, a majority of the shots that Royval threw. Royval did land a leg kick, and then Moreno landed a big right hand in that round. Royval, I think the issue and why he kept getting hit with these big power shots with Moreno in the first few rounds was because he wasn't moving his head. He wasn't moving his head, and he wasn't really moving much like in and out. Like Moreno, he was moving in and out. He was moving laterally. Not only that, but also Moreno got a takedown in the last minute of the round, and then Royval attempted a triangle off his back, which I thought was interesting, but I gave that round easily to Moreno as well. I thought he landed the bigger shots. I thought he did more damage. 2 judges scored round 2 for Brandon Royval. Mike Bell and Chris Lee both scored round 2 for Brandon Royval. I disagree. I think that was all Moreno in that round. Round 3. So this was a very interesting round. Moreno attempted a takedown again, but Royval, I think, was hip to that at this point. I kind of had a feeling that Moreno's takedowns were going to be less and less effective. And even when he did get taken down, he wasn't really in much danger. I mean, he attempted a submission of his own. I wasn't really sure what Moreno's strategy was with the takedowns. I thought he was having more success on the feet, honestly. Round 3, Royval landed more. Moreno attempted a bunch of takedowns, didn't get any of them. So I gave that round easily to Royval. 2 judges, they both gave that round to Moreno. I didn't think he won that round. Can you guys tell me if I'm crazy, please? Because I watched this fight like 3 times, and I thought Royval won the 3rd round more clearly than any other round. Now here's where things get interesting. So round 4, none of the judges scored this round for Moreno, which I was very shocked by, because if anything, I thought round 3 was clear for Royval. Round 4, I thought, was the one that was could have gone either way. So Moreno was throwing a lot of leg kicks in the 4th round. And I kind of wish he would have done that a little bit more in the fight, because I think he was having a lot of success attacking that lead leg of Royval. And Royval, even though his leg was getting beat up, he was throwing more in that round. It just didn't have anything behind it. He was throwing, he's landing at a low percentage, but landing, if you're slipping a punch properly, you're not getting completely out of the way. You're just barely moving your head out of the way, and you're getting grazed usually by the punch. Maybe they kind of saw that and thought Moreno was getting hit, even though he wasn't. Moreno did throw a lot of body shots in that round as well. It was a close round, but I thought, if you're looking at it from a damage perspective, I thought Moreno won that round. If you're looking at it from just pure activity, then you could give it to Royval. But since Moreno did do a lot of damage to the leg, I thought they were going to give that round to Moreno. But even Moreno's coaches didn't think that he was ahead. They were like, oh, we need this 5th round. You could have given it to either fighter. Just depends on what you're looking for. I think the optics of it definitely favored Royval as far as just the volume of punches that he was throwing. And then round 5, honestly, a very weird round. I was very confused with the strategy here. Moreno was engaging in the clinch. He arguably could have been down 2 rounds, and his coaches are telling him, okay, we need this round, and then he engages in the clinch. So I'm like, I don't know, maybe he was trying to set up a takedown, trying to get a finish. I don't know what the strategy was there, but I thought he was having a lot of success with just throwing those big shots and staying out of the way. I mean, I thought that was working well for him in the first couple rounds. And then he attempted another takedown. I didn't know what to think about the last. I thought the last round was going to be a brawl, honestly. Herb Dean apparently did too, because he immediately was giving them warnings when when Moreno initiated the clinch. I was kind of like, okay, that's a little ridiculous. Like they just clinched. I get it's the final round and it's, a main event. Herb Dean was in just bleed mode, apparently. He's like, you guys got to work immediately when they clinch. I really didn't know how to score this round. I gave it to Royval, but I don't know. I mean, Moreno blocked a lot of those shots, but he just didn't do as much damage in that round, I thought, and didn't throw as much. So I gave that round to Royval. I guess you could say the grappling was just not very effective from Moreno. I don't know. A lot of people are saying a bunch of stuff about Moreno, though, like, oh, he's not hungry anymore. I just think that styles make fights. I think that, Brandon Moreno is so entertaining, and he's been in so many just absolute barn burner fights that people expect that from every single fight, and you can't. Most fighters are going to have at least one or two boring fights, let's be honest. And I didn't even think the fight was boring. I thought it was a good fight. It was just not the fast pace that we're used to with a Brandon Moreno fight. It was a little different. Beautiful boxing from Moreno. I thought Royval, his kicks looked excellent. I thought he did a great job pressuring, like I said, and defending the takedowns. He did a fantastic job defending those and not allowing himself to get in really any danger in this fight. He did eat a lot of shots, eat a lot of big shots, but overall, I thought they both had a good performance, honestly. I would have been happy with either of them getting the victory here, or a draw. I didn't think it was a robbery at all. I thought the judging was probably a little questionable. It's not like Moreno dominated him and then lost the fight. It was a close fight. Let's be real. It was a close fight.